This is the new uterus. This is the old uterus. And this down here that you can't see is the really old uterus. I'm gonna show you a little behind the scenes of something that I've been working on since I started thinking and planning for this periodnirvana.com, my new platform for menstrual cup education and advice, and also period.shop, which is my new retail store. The shop launched in early September officially, and so there was a flurry of activity getting that ready, and then I wanted to focus on the content side and the advocacy and the education, which is really my favorite thing to do. And so as part of that, I really wanted to create a new uterus model that was more in line with the aesthetic I was going for Period Nirvana, and just the colors that I liked. And because the model is an old birth control model, and people ask all the time where I got it from a friend who had a doctor friend. They're, given out as these pharmaceutical reps. So unfortunately, it's not something that's just out there to buy. And I've always felt really lucky that I've had it. And I've customized it over the years to be a little more helpful in my previous work, and this time I just wanted something that was pretty. And the challenge was painting those inside parts, the rectum and the bladder and the uterus, was not going to look good. And in this moment of brilliance, I decided I was going to undertake a process of mold making and resin casting. And what this is you create these rubber molds. This is actually a mold for the ovaries, and although I've done a lot of the work myself, I did not make these molds because I had the hardest time making them. So let's take a look at my failed ovary experience. I had probably tried 5 different molds, 5 or 6 different molds of the left ovary, and the right ovary was fine. It came out mostly fine every single time, but the left ovary would never fully form. The fallopian tube, the little legs that were attaching it to the uterus, were not working. So I got a message from a woman on Instagram, Taylor, and she was with a company called Alumilite, which I had heard of because I'd been buying all this resin and silicone for months, spending untold gobs of money on this project to get it right. And she offered her help. So she worked for the company, she worked with these mold makers, and we had a video call, and I was showing them my ovary molds and explaining, oh my gosh, it's, just won't work. I don't understand why. I've made it 5 or 6 times. And so they offered to very kindly make a mold for me. So I sent them the right and left ovaries because it felt weird to separate them. They were separate, of course, but it felt weird. And they made a 2-piece mold, which I had not tried yet. I was using a 1-piece top-down mold.
Hey, Kim.
Hey, Kim.
This is for you.
This is
Pour
all for
one
you.
out for Kim.
Is this just of me just talking to Kim?
Yeah.
Just
I
hanging?
can also turn off the volume and put text on it if needed.
I got lefty, I got righty. So I pushed them down. I did build up a nice even base and then a ridge right here because these naturally swoop up. I'm gonna pour it up. Pouring it in one spot like this ensures that the silicone kind of naturally goes over the part and fills in all the air gaps itself.
And it has to be injected with a needle, which is quite difficult. It took me several tries, even with this expert mold, to get my ovaries made. But that was the final piece in this puzzle to getting my uterus model complete. Another piece of this puzzle was wanting this model for future videos and future educational work, to resemble more of a real insertion experience versus inserting a cup into a wide, gaping hole. This has always been something I've tried to do, and in past years I've bought these clear vulvas that are part of some pleasure sleeves, and they look realistic, and I've been able to demonstrate putting a cup in those. And I've made videos with those in the past, but they were not something I could attach to the model, and something that just was never quite right. So I started sculpting with clay, because you can use clay along with silicone to create these molds. And I made 3 different types of vulvas. And the first one was quite an epic fail. It was this one. And this is actually one that I sort of added additional silicone to after taking it out of the mold so that I could try to save it, and it was not salvageable. This is a version of that as well, but without the additional work. And this is using a very expensive silicone. It's a skin type of silicone that they use for special effects makeup, like scarring and things like that. The second vulva, I took a different approach because I was so frustrated with the first that I went the opposite direction. So this was a different approach, but what I found is that it worked okay, but it was too thin, it was tearing, and was just not quite doing what I wanted for the demos. The lips, because they were longer, were getting like caught while I was doing the insertion demos. So I did another sculpt. And these vulvas that I make take 1 to 2 or longer days of sculpting with tools and hand sculpting. And so I went with a far more solid opening. Like this thing is thick, and it still has the thing on the inside to keep it there. And it does fit on the model, especially when it's sideways, quite well. And I'm working on the best method of attachment. And what I like about it is that it is solid and tight, so it shows you, that cups are going into a very narrow opening and they still work. You can still get them in, and you might want to use lubrication just like I do with this model, but your body does have natural lubrication where this model does not. So this is the mold for the final vulva, and you pour the silicone here, and this is that bottom piece here. So it's been quite the adventure. For the other pieces, the bladder and the rectum, those were actually pieces that I started with first, and I've had many different versions. I've probably made 4 bladders and rectums each, and so you can see this one did not fully form and had quite a few bubbles, and I was attempting some different styles with this, something they call mica powder, which is what you paint into the mold itself before you pour the resin in. So that is a little behind the scenes of going through this process and trying again and trying again and trying again until it became what I was really happy with. And I'm sure in a few weeks or months or years I will try reusing these molds and making them again, because I want something different. Which is the benefit of having the molds and making those, because I can do whatever I want. I can make the uterus a different color. I can make these pieces different colors. I also painted this, and I made this resin triangle base based on something that my neighbor made for the props that I've been using for photography for Period Nirvana and Period.shop. And then my husband made this amazing stand, which is what you see here. And it fits this so that I can do demos and show you things. The next process I'm going to be doing is gluing this back down, because as you can hear, it's a little creaky. It's a creaky vagina. It takes away from some of the filming processes and makes it annoying. So that'll be one of the projects down the road. But I thought this would be fun to kind of showcase something that I've been spending quite a lot of time on as this ramp up to launch has happened, and I'll be filming more videos with this model, but I think it's been a really fun experience, and I've done tons of other resin work. I didn't start the resin work specifically for the uterus or the silicone vulva attachment. I think I really started doing resin so that I could make my own photo props. So I've been making things for the photography for Period Nirvana in the shop, and so I wanted them in my custom colors, so I've been making these different molds and platforms and things for photography, because you can't buy this stuff. Like, if you see people doing these really cool photography things for Instagram or their websites. A lot of this stuff is custom made. There is not really a company that says, okay, here are your colors. This is what I want. You know, you tell them and they make you cool stuff. So I've bought a lot and I've molded a lot and come up with this aesthetic that I've been using in all my photography. And I also had a neighbor who's a woodworker make some of the other pieces, like the wooden steps and the wooden triangles. And the wooden triangles are fantastic for disc photography. So while this isn't exactly cup related, I find it super interesting, and I have been documenting this on Instagram. There's a highlight that says behind the scenes, and there's also another highlight that says making of, which has a picture of a uterus. And that tells you, shows you some of the things that I haven't been able to show you in this video as well. All that to say, I really love what I do and have so much fun with it and care so much about the end product that I'm willing to do almost anything to get the shot or to make it what I want. So that's it. That was a long one. Thanks for being here and watching this and getting to see a little bit of the behind the scenes of Period Nirvana and Period.shop. If you are new here and you found this through resin keywords or something and you're like, whoa, what am I watching? Period Nirvana is a menstrual cup education channel. And so all of this is to help teach people how to use and succeed with their menstrual cups and discs. So I was really grateful to Alumilite to help me because they saw what I was trying to do, and this isn't sponsored in any way. They sent the ovary mold, and they also did send me some products so that I could keep trying to make this ovary. So they re-upped my supply, so to speak. So that was really kind of them, and they didn't ask for anything in return. They really just wanted help to help me. And so I desperately needed help. So that was super kind. So yes, if that's how you found me and you want to learn more about menstrual cups, you should watch some of the other videos. Thanks so much, and follow me on Instagram. I clearly spend a lot of time taking pictures for that. And subscribe, and we'll see you in the next educational menstrual cup video. Bye.